Hi, today I'm going to be talking about AI in the classroom. So why is it important to have AI in the classroom or kind of know about it? Well, artificial intelligence is becoming more and more accessible in education. So as educators, it's very important that we embrace this change and learn about the benefits as AI. I know at times it can be very intimidating and scary to use, especially when we don't feel confident and know it as it is new. However, our students have access to it as well. And so it's important for us as educators to teach them how to use it responsibly, as this is going to be something they're going to be required to kind of know, like a skill to work with in the real world eventually, in the work world. So as it's going to be a new 21st century skill that we're going to kind of have to teach them. So it's important that we embrace that change and start as educators using it ourselves so we can use it with our students. So the purpose of today's presentation is to learn about AI programs. I'm going to show you four different ones that you can use in your classroom, some activities that you can use with your students using each program, as well as kind of examples of what those might look like. So the first platform I'm going to talk about is Magic School AI. And what I really like about this platform is it is designed by educators. So people who were in the classroom, have been in the classroom, know what teaching is about, have designed this. So what's really nice about this is when my students are working on it, and let's say they're doing a rating feedback, they're getting feedback on their rating. If they ask AI to make the change for them, AI will respond with, "Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot do that because then you're not doing the learning." So it won't do the work for them. It will help them, it'll give them feedback, but it won't do the work for them. Additionally, as teachers, you can monitor it so it flags anything like that. So, for example, my students were doing a rating and they were talking about shooting a basketball into a hoop. It flagged it because it said the word shoot, but again, it aids on the teacher side, very sensitive to that, which is nice as an educator so I can monitor my students and make sure they're using it appropriately. What I like about this platform as well is it has a teacher's platform and a student side. So the teacher side has tools that are specific for teachers. So it can unpack standards, it can come up with lessons for you, it can create presentations and all that. I used it to create SEL lessons last minute and stuff like that. But then it also has a student side as well. So tools that are specifically designed for students. And those students only have access to those if the teacher gives them those tools. So I have a couple that I always let my students have access to all year long, like rating feedback, because I think that's important. Some of my favorite tools I have used is the writing feedback, character chat box, and text summarizer with my students. Additionally, I have used this where students can work independently with the AI or they can collaborate together on projects. So I think it has potential to do a lot, this platform. One quote that I kind of found is that using Magic School AI in the classroom has increased students' critical thinking skills and prepared students for an AI world. So I really like this program, especially when first introducing students to AI, because it does aid on that teacher side and all of that. So, an activity idea with your students could be to use that character chat box research. So, that would be a tool that you would assign those students and they can do it. And you can give them a historical figure to look up, or maybe let's say you're doing like that wax museum project that I know a lot of classes might do. They can type in that character. And so, let's say I'm going to be Abraham Lincoln, I might type him in. And then I can chat away like I'm chatting with Abe Lincoln and ask him these questions, and it's like I'm talking to the real Abraham Lincoln. And then they can go ahead and share what they've learned. And I think it's a fun way to do research and stuff. Now, you just have to remember that you should also teach students to do other research, not just AI, because AI does make mistakes. It is not facts and all of that. So just to make sure they're double checking all of that. The next one I want to teach you about is CuraPod. So what I really like about this one is it can create interactive presentations. So it engages students with feedback, polls, multiple choice questions, and more. So it can make a new slideshow. So let's say I'm going on CuraPod and I type in make a slideshow about the American Revolution. It can do that, or I can upload a slideshow I might already have, and it will enhance that presentation. And it's very nice because the students can just join with a link. And then they get a code and they type the code in and they're joined and they're on that presentation with you as you're presenting. or it can be shared with colleagues as well. So I know for us, as my fifth grade team, we have one on Matter that we all teach to, and it's the exact same one. We just make copies of it. So then it's our students' only feedback that we're getting. Students who have used CarePod have positive feedback and feel it has improved their learning. I know when I've used it in my classroom, my students really enjoy it. Not only is that slideshow right there on their screen, so it's easy to follow along and not just on the front board, but it's asking them questions throughout it. So an activity idea that I came up with is a presentation enhancing. So let's say you have a project. My students do a book talk project, so they make a slideshow about a book that they read, and it goes over summaries, telling them all about it. They get to rate it. It's a very fun project that they do. So I would have them create that slideshow and then upload it to CarePod. So then it's taking their slideshow and just adding those interactive features so that way, when they are presenting the slideshow, other students are joining and they're interacting and all of that. I feel like it's also a fun way to kind of get those students up there, and maybe those eyes then aren't on the presenter and they're on their student screens, which can maybe ease some of that anxiety on students' end when they are presenting projects by themselves. The next one I want to talk about is Canva Magic Studio, and this is one that I'm still kind of exploring. My students are actually better at this than I am. And this is an AI generator to create images, graphics, presentations, and more. So it provides engaging templates, toolkits, and images to enhance visuals for learning for students. And then the students can also share work on projects together. So it has kind of just like that on Google Sites and all of that, when you can share and work on a Google presentation together, you can do the same thing on Canva. And so my students really enjoy it because has a lot more options and templates that you can use than Google Slides does. An activity I came up with this is a descriptive writing image generator. So you can type in the AI and it will create an image for you. So originally I would have students write a descriptive paragraph. So let's say they wanted to describe an apple and all of that on a table. And they write this paragraph and they have a picture, all what they want to do. And then the students are going to put that paragraph into the generator and the image is created. Depending on the image, they might need to add more description to enhance the image. I know in our students' technology class, they've done this where they're creating portraits of themselves using this AI generator. And it's really cool to see them like make those changes so they get the image as close to them as possible. The last one is ChatGPT, and I feel like this one is one that is most familiar with people. So what I really like about this, it has the potential to engage students and meet a high demand of learning needs with its quick responses. So it's very quick, it's very easy to pull up and all of that. This is an online chat box that can be used in a variety of ways. You can use it to summarize text, generate ideas, brainstorm, and even begin research. And then students can share their findings with peers or work alongside their peers. So they might start independently and then bring it to their partner once it's time, or they could work together. The one thing I will say about ChatGPT is that one will do the work for them. It will create stuff. So you just got to be very mindful on when you're giving students access to that one. However, as educators, this one's a great way for us to create stuff very quickly as well, especially if you don't have access to some of those other platforms if they require subscriptions. So an activity for this would be with your students. I would suggest maybe doing like a brainstorm partner. So I'll assign students a project. So example, our students write a big narrative essay at the beginning of the year. And so I might give my students some time using ChatGPT to like brainstorm some ideas. Either they can create a list and then ask ChatGPT for its results, or brainstorm and be like, can you give me some narrative writing options? I'm stuck on what to start with. And then students can give their final idea and even ask for feedback from ChatGPT, and it might say, this is really well, you could improve this, or here's what I think. So I think it would be a great start when you're brainstorming. So now here are some examples. So if we look to our left, this picture right here, that's that Magic School character chat box. So I put in Abraham Lincoln and I asked what was it like to be president during the Civil War. And then Abraham Lincoln talked all about what it would be like and all of that. So that's very cool. This next one is Gearpod, and so this is from our Matter unit, and this is one of the polls that would come up. So on the student screen, it would say, what is volume? and we would give them these four options as a multiple choice question. The students would answer it, and then once they answer it, it would pull up the results. So it would show how many people answered what. It wouldn't say who. All the students have fake names. And then as a teacher, I can use that as a quick formative assessment, talk about each answer, why this one was the best answer, why this one is partially correct, and stuff like that. This is that Canva Magic Studio option. So I said, can you create an image of a round red apple the size of a baseball sitting in a brown fruit bowl filled with bananas, grapes, and pears? And so then it came up with this. And depending on it, the students might need to make it more descriptive by adding what the pears look like, what color grapes it looks like, all of that. So, but it creates a very nice image. And then here is ChatGPT. So my students do a science project where they have to come up with a conservation idea for their to save a endangered species and how that would impact the ecosystem if that species went extinct. And so I asked ChatGPT, I was thinking of creating a website for a conservation project. Can you give me feedback? And here's the feedback it would give. In conclusion, AI is growing rapidly. It's becoming more and more. There are more platforms being created for all of these different jobs. Even in education, there are millions of platforms out there to help us as teachers. So it's a skill that students will need to have, and it can be beneficial when used correctly. We know that it has its concerns. I know for a fact I'm concerned that my students take advantage and use it as a way to do their work instead of doing it on themselves. However, it's our jobs as teachers to then teach them to use it responsibly so they are using it correctly. These tools are here to help us as educators. We know that there are a million things that we have to do every day. So we use these tools to help us and create those last minute lessons possibly or give us ideas and all of that. So it's very important that we kind of just embrace this change of AI and begin to use it in our classrooms. And then here are my references. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.